Hey guys, it's Gers. Today I wanted to share some tips on how to make a good understandable ref sheet for your persona and or character. This will mainly be tips relating to characters that are creatures, but it also applies well to humans and any other kinds of characters you are designing. Before anyone gets mad or complains about my tips, please know I am a graduated student with a BFA from a fine arts school, so I'm pretty sure I at least understand the basics of design. At least take what I have to say into consideration. You don't have to follow my tips. The character I am drawing today is one I adopted from Sweetmeat Studios on Twitter and Instagram. Go check them out. Tip 1. Design. Be sure to keep it simple. If a design is too busy or has too many difficult parts to portray, artists could have more trouble portraying your character correctly in art. Not only will this help make it easier to draw again in the future, but if you plan on getting a fursuit, you'll probably be more likely to get chosen. Most fursuit makers, though they enjoy a challenge, accept more streamlined and basic designs. It is proven that the best character designs are simple, because they are more easily identifiable and memorable. Just think about that before throwing 40 colors of the rainbow onto your persona. If you want, or have a complicated design, that's fine. Just make sure to communicate any detailed traits to the artist and or fursuit maker you are commissioning so that there isn't a misunderstanding. Tip 2. Body features. You don't need horns, wings, or a fancy tail to make your character special. You can be any species, even made up ones. But just make sure people will remember what your species is and recognize its special features if there are any. You know your design is a success when people remember. Make sure in your reference that not too many body parts cover any significant body parts or markings. Have them in the most neutral pose as possible. If your character has lots of hair or fluff, consider making a reference sheet that shows them with and without their hair so people can see anything it might cover. The more you leave uncovered, the better, so artists can be accurate as possible. If there is a body part in your reference sheet that is mostly hidden, like bottoms of paws, and you have a specific feature to show there, be sure to add a better view of it somewhere on your reference. Tip 3. Color. Use a max of 4 to 6 colors in your design. This doesn't include special markings. You can do whatever you want with those. Just FYI, a group of colors is called a color palette. For persona designs especially, the body markings are the focal point of the character, so you want to be sure to make a good color combination that you enjoy. Color is also super important in design in general, and it is proven that the best color combinations are between 4 to 6 colors. Any more and it can become too busy and start looking ugly. Though there are still some really great designs with more than 6 colors, don't get me wrong. Vani's a good example, they have amazing work. Here are some examples of great color palettes to get you brainstorming. Choose your colors and move on to the next part. Tip 4. Style. Think about how you want your character to be drawn. Are you drawing your own character reference? Or are you having someone else draw one for you? Either is fine, but you have to think about what style you want your character drawn in. If it's a style you think only you can try and create, then go for it. If you really want it drawn by a specific artist in a specific way, go for it. But be sure to communicate your needs to your artist and be sure they are okay with doing it. Personally, I like my characters in a toony style. Not like Roger Rabbit toony, but a good balance between Disney's Golden Age style and my own. It'll really affect how your character's personality is portrayed if they aren't in the right style for your idea. So take time to sit down, assess your own style, if you draw, and other artists you enjoy. Don't copy others, but take inspiration. This is important for your reference because it will serve as a point of reference for how your character is typically drawn, and then other artists may interpret it how they want to translate it into their style if you commission them for art of your character. In animation, it is very important that a character is drawn in the style they are working on. That way no characters look out of place in the animation. Once you know how you want your persona or character portrayed, move on once more. Tip 5. Poses. Stick to 2 to 4 poses in a reference sheet. I tend to use 3 poses in a fursuit reference sheet to cover all the possible angles that markings interact in. Use a basic pose, and then draw a front, side, and back view of your character. This really helps and works as a static turnaround for your character model. If you need to, in a side standing pose, remove the arms so that you can see any of the hidden markings or features that need to be shown. Like I said earlier, if you need to remove any large amounts of hair to show any markings or scars, draw a second version of your head or body part without hair like this. You want your reference to translate clearly to people who will use it in the future. Don't be confusing. If you need to explain anything with small notes on the side, do so, but keep it short. Anything that needs more than one line of explaining needs to be drawn appropriately, or consider simplifying your design again. Tip 6. Final details. Make sure to include your color palette somewhere on your reference sheet. This way you can quickly reference which colors to use. If you need to, put hex codes for your colors. A hex code, or hexadecimal color value, represents the RGB, red, green, blue, color value that your computer reads and translates to your specific color. It just makes it easier to go back and find that color later. Never put shading or shadows on your reference sheet, please. It makes it hard to pick out the colors on your design and makes your reference pretty much useless. Remember, the point of your reference is a visually represented description of your character, not a typical illustration. If your character has a frequently used outfit, prop, etc., be sure to draw them somewhere on your reference sheet. Don't make them take up too much room though. Your character is going to be the biggest part of the reference sheet. These are some optional details. You can do a photo or pattern background for your reference if you want to. I typically do because I think flat backgrounds are boring. But be sure no details around your character that you have written, etc. is obscured by the background. Make your background a muted color or opacity if it's an image, so that everything is still readable. I tend to put a light box behind my text and color palette just to be sure that this part is more obvious and set apart from my background. I also like to put a light outline around my character so that it stands out more from the background. Remember, you don't have to do this, I just think it makes it look nice. If you use Paint Tool SAI and want to put an outline around your character, just select your line and color layers, make sure all of it's selected, and then go to Selection, Increment 1. I do an increment of about 10 pixels to make a nice thin border around my character so it pops. Also, you probably noticed I did 2 3/4 poses instead of a side, front, and back. You can do this if you want with a smaller reference, but a 3-pose reference sheet is best for fursuit references if that's what you're going for. Alright, I think that about does it for my tips and tricks for reference sheets. If I didn't go over something you wanted to hear, let me know about it in the comments. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, and tell me if this video helped you after all. Subscribe for more videos like this coming out in the future. Thanks again, guys! See you next time!